Okay, well, hopefully you can see the agenda up on your screen. Um, just one little business item. I sent out the RSVP again for the December 11th party. Make sure it's really quick. I mean, all you have to do is put your name and how many total people would be coming in your family, and hopefully we'll see you all there. It'll be a really good time. So that's not tomorrow. That's the following Tuesday. Today, we're going to go over the rest of our reading test. So that's numbers 11 through 23. So last week we did 1 through 10. And then we'll switch gears a little bit and we'll go back to what we started last week with working with making good summaries and the skill of summarizing. And then I will kind of scroll down here and show you what's coming up next. Okay, so we'll look at the summary that I made. And then you guys had the assignment to make a summary. So we will look at some of your summaries. Hopefully you did that. Hopefully we'll have some time to just talk about the story a little bit more because I made some discussion questions. And then we'll look at your assignment for next week. So let's go ahead and get started. Whew. And during the interim test review, if you want, you can either raise your hand or type like A, B, C, or D or whatever into the chat. All right, so here we go. We left off with number 11, which actually was a writing question that you had. Whew, so scroll down. Okay. Yes, Lucas.
I think I missed last last week's VC.
Yeah, you did. And I tried to record them last week. It's pretty crazy. Like, I don't know, it was cutting out a bunch. I think it's because I showed that video and I don't know, like the sound quality was just terrible. So I didn't post them. So sorry, you missed us going over 1 through 10. But anyway. Okay, so here we were on number 11, and it was you needed to come up with one fact, and you needed to also explain how you knew it was a fact and not an opinion. And that was after reading the story on the Statue of Liberty. So notice once again how much space they gave you. They actually gave you an entire page. I would expect at least a paragraph. So maybe 3 to 4 sentences, a short paragraph, because they only asked you for one fact. If they would have asked you for like 3 or 4 facts, then it would have been, of course, longer. Let's see. It looks like somebody just showed up. Jordan. Yay. Hi, Jordan. Okay. So going back to the story, does anybody, it's been a little while now, but does anybody remember just the one fact that they found and how you knew it was a fact? So I have the story up on the screen and you can actually find one right now. Go ahead, Autumn.
The statue was 151 feet and 1 inch tall.
There you go. That is definitely a fact. Autumn, how do you know that that is a fact and not an opinion?
Because a fact is something that you can be proven, and an opinion is something that someone
Thinks or feels. That's exactly right. So this can be proven because you can obviously get, some tools to measure the height. Very good. Is there another fact that you guys picked out? Just look at this section down here. Josh, can you pull out a fact?
It was
What
the
about this
tallest
one right
structure in
here?
the
The
U.S.
arm holding the torch is 46 feet. The index finger is 8 feet, and the nose is nearly 5 feet. All of that can be proven, right? Very good. Okay, and Jacob just put into the chat that there are 354 steps. He knows that that's a fact because, again, it can be proven. So I won't spend too much more time on that particular question, but that was just number 11. The key to number 11 was telling how you knew it was a fact. So something to the effect of if you said something like it was 151 feet tall, you know that that's a fact because it can be measured and that can be proven. So that was the key, is to make sure that you got that last part of the question in. Okay, moving on to 12. 12 was another writing response, and this one was an opinion. So the opinion of the author is that the Statue of Liberty is a really cool and awesome gift from France. You can just tell that that's how the author feels because it's a really positive and celebratory tone. So the author is pretty excited about the Statue of Liberty. You needed to come up with specific details and examples to show that the author thinks that the Statue of Liberty is awesome. So, if you go back to the story, you can find, like, even this very first sentence. On July 4th, 1884, France gave the United States an amazing birthday gift, the Statue of Liberty! Exclamation point. That's an example right there. The author thinks it's an amazing gift, and he uses an exclamation point, so he's pretty excited about it. So here's another example that shows that the author is pretty positive. He thinks that France might have a democracy of their own, like the United States. He's hopeful for France. So there were lots of different examples that you could have chosen to show that the author was, in fact, pretty positive about it. So, okay, moving on to 13. We had a sweet little poem, The Day I Was Born. Aw. And number 13, I want you to actually go ahead and type into the chat this time, A, B, C, or D. In the poem, it says, I screamed that I wanted a bath. This means that the baby was making loud noises by crying and screaming. So which one of the following answers does not justify the definition given? That's a really confusing way of basically saying which one of these choices is not really possible.
Joshua, are you listening or doing other things?
Which one of these choices is not actually reality, is not really possible? Oh, wow, look at C and D. Those are actually the same option, so that's a mistake on their part. That's right, Lucas. The one that is not possible is the baby actually yelling the words, I want a bath. We know that that's not possible the second a baby's born. They can't talk yet. So that does not prove screaming that they wanted a bath. Okay, a baby does not really talk. All right, so for number 14, the best definition for the word please in the following line. So basically, we just needed to use our context clues to see what that meant. But the doctor just nodded, ignoring my pleas, like they didn't understand what I said. Go and look at your choices, and which one would make sense in this situation? Wow, I'm getting some interesting responses. But the doctors just nodded, ignoring my pleas. Now remember, the baby is actually screaming. So I don't think the baby is asking anything politely. You're not being very polite when you scream. Actually, I think the best answer is cries for help. Yeah, I mean, The screams and yells, that's what the baby is doing. But when you are making a plea to somebody, you are asking for help. Like I am, have you ever heard the word pleading? I'm pleading with you right now to change your mind. Yes, Lucas, do you have a question?
Actually, I since I thought of please, I was like a polite way of saying something. So like,
Oh,
please.
I see. Well, yeah, you added the e onto the end and you made it like you were asking something nicely. But actually, a plea is asking for help.
Oh,
So that was kind of that was a tricky one. This one's pretty easy. The poem On the Day You Were Born is mainly about. So it's talking about the main idea. So what is the main idea of that poem? Good, Autumn. That's right, Lucas. That's right. So this one was pretty simple. The main idea, it's about a baby being born and preparing to begin life. Good. Good job, Josh. Oops, went a little fast there. Number 16 was another writing prompt, and again, notice how much space they gave you. So in the space below, define the word crystal in the phrase as clear as a crystal sea. Use the context clues in your answer. So you need to go back to the poem and find it. I will always remember as clear as the crystal sea. Okay, so what the authors is meaning is that it is crystal clear and that they will always remember the day they were born. So really, those were the context clues, that it was clear and easy to understand. They're not talking about crystals like rocks. They're talking about it's easy to understand
because you can see through
because you
crystals.
can see it in your mind. Yeah. Okay, number 17. Which word means to be governed by the people? Oh, so we had a new story. I'm sorry, I should have. Are they talking about? Yeah, they are. They're talking about the Statue of Liberty one again. Okay. All right. Um, so to be governed by the people is a democracy. So that's what we live in the United States. It's called a democracy. That means that the people are the people who vote for the people who make the laws and whatnot. So in France at the time, they were trying to get rid of something called a monarchy. You can see that that was one of the choices. A monarchy is with a king and a queen who make all the choices and don't really ask other people what they think. Here in America, the average United States citizen has a say in what happens and the laws that are made. So, okay. And 18. So we had to construct the word that means the act of taking something apart. So you needed to look at all these different choices and look at the base word. That means the main word. And which one means putting something together? Coordinate? No. Count? No. Tangle? No, that doesn't mean putting together. If you assemble something, that means to put it together. So to disassemble it, dis must mean the opposite. So to disassemble means to take it apart. So you just really, I think it was easiest to look at the base word first and find which one made sense. Okay, am I going too fast for anybody? Okay, we have a lot to get through, but I did want to, go over the test with you. All right, read the sentence. Identify the word that is a synonym for current. First of all, what is a synonym?
Current.
Well, no, what is a synonym if I ask you to find a synonym? It means it's a word that means something similar. Yeah, go ahead, Jordan. You can say it.
It means like it's like kind of now, sort of like it's happening right now.
Well,
Like,
yeah. I
well,
mean,
sort of like um.
well, actually, a synonym is a word that means basically the same thing. So it's
Oh wait. Oh, okay. I thought you were asking me what definition. Okay,
oh,
never mind.
what current? Oh, well, that's fine. Current means now or be present. So that is the word that means almost the same thing. But you could read the whole sentence and see which one would make sense if you didn't know. So the current tower was designed after the old Palace of Westminster and destroyed by the fire in 1834. So the only one that would make sense would be present. The present tower was designed after the old palace, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Number 20. Oh, here's a new topic for you guys. Personification. Anybody know what personification means? Okay, personification means when you take an object that is not alive, so something like, I don't know, a desk or, something that is not alive, and you give it a human quality. Okay? Obviously, a fish is alive, a dog is alive, and a baby is alive. The only one that it could be is the rock. The rock sat on the ground. Now, a rock doesn't usually do what a human would do, which is something like sitting. So it's giving an object that is not alive a human quality. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's personification. Oh, we had another poem, and this one was kind of long. Basically, I'm just going to tell you what the main idea of this poem was. That this person was going through this jar full of keys, and every time he pulled out a key, he would remember some kind of memory of his grandfather. And as this person got older, his grandfather would tell him stories and add more and more details the older he got. So each one of these keys represents like a memory that either grandfather told him about or maybe a memory with his grandfather. Okay. So for number 21, determine what the poet meant by the phrase, the tail's growing as our ice cream cones shrink. So I want you to read through the choices and remember what I just said and which choice would be the best. That's right, Lucas. That's right, Josh. As time passed, Grandpa added more details to the stories. So as the ice cream cones shrank, the stories grew longer. So what I think that really means is as you grow up, like maybe your ice cream cones get smaller, but the stories that people will tell you are more detailed because you understand it more as you grow. Okay, and yes, Jacob, it was A. Number 22, the narrator claims to be greedy. What evidence is there that the narrator is greedy? So the narrator or the poet wants something. What does the poet or narrator want? That's right, Josh. Lucas, think a little deeper. I don't think he wanted more ice cream. That's right, Jacob. The best answer is he wanted Grandpa to tell him more stories. Okay. So he was happy that as he grew a little bit older, Grandpa's stories became more detailed. Okay, last one. The author uses the words done their dance across the table to describe fingers. Select 3 examples from the poem that show that the fingers were dancing across the table. So what you needed to do is come up here and find 3 examples of where the fingers are doing something. So let's just we could find a couple pretty quickly. Here we go. Here's one. I lay a finger on the chilly surface. Okay, so there's something. Okay, here we go. Here's another thing. Close around the key that I need today. So another thing that the fingers are doing. Scoop the keys into the jar. So that one was really you just needed to find an example of the things that the fingers were doing, and you needed to find 3 examples. So, any questions on your interim test? No? Okay, well then let's switch gears because we have a lot to do. Go for it, Lucas. We'll be here waiting. We'll switch gears and go to our reading strategies. You've been working on summarizing for quite a while, and some of you might be wondering, I'm just going to show you where I'm coming up with this. In your homeroom page, the book that you're reading for Dear, I always tell you what strategy I would like you to be working on. So, we actually switched gears this week, and that's why our next lesson that I'll tell you about at the end of class today will be about questioning. But I should have showed you week 14 last week. You have been working on the strategy of summarizing. So you need to make sure that you always pay attention to what you're supposed to be doing when you're reading your Dear book. Okay? So that's just a little side note. All right, so our objectives were to summarize and understand the text and identify the main ideas and supporting details. So let's review that text that we looked at last week. How many people read it like they were supposed to? Anybody? Yay! Okay, so we all did. That's good. I'm pulling it up right now. There it is. Okay. So, together last week we looked at all of the different topics that were in this particular text. And together we kind of talked through my summary of the very first section. We're going to look at my summary in just a minute, the actual typed summary, and we're going to peer edit it. You guys were supposed to read the rest of the book, and you were going to write a summary on this section. It was the last section. So how many people were able to do that? Good, great. So we'll be able to look at least a couple different people's summaries of this particular section. And that's okay, Jacob. I knew your internet was down, and that's fine. Okay, so I just want to keep this first section on the screen, and I want you to just kind of be reading through it as I talk through it. And as I read the first section, I noticed that most of the sentences mentioned something about the eruption of Mount Vesuvius. I read that there was a huge explosion that shook the ground in Pompeii on August 24th, AD 79. Okay, so here's our dates and our place. As I was reading this, I would have been underlining the main ideas as I came to them. So I probably would have printed it out and either highlighted or underlined as I went along. I also read that dust, ash, and lava poured from the volcano, destroying everything in its path. So this part right here. Okay, so I would have underlined that. 11 hours later, surge clouds fell down the mountain at speeds of 310 miles per hour, and within moments, all the people of Pompeii and Herculaneum were burned. Okay, so that section would have came from right here. This is where I would have underlined the important information. Remember how last week I kind of told you that I would try to find one important thing from each paragraph? Well, that's kind of what I'm doing right now. Yes, Lucas.
My printer wasn't working, so I wasn't able to print this out.
Okay. So, were you able to type it anywhere?
Actually, I wrote my
Oh, you do,
paragraph right
that's
here.
fine. Oh, I know. Lucas, it's okay if you weren't able to print it out and get a pencil and underline or get a highlighter and highlight. That's okay. I'm just giving you a suggestion.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so based on what I've read and what I underlined when I did print it out, I think the main idea of this first section was that when Mount Vesuvius erupted in AD 79, the results were catastrophic. That means really bad. 11 destructive hours after erupting, two cities were completely burned and wiped off the earth. So that's kind of what I wrote for my summary. So let's just look at what I wrote. Okay. I'm right here in case you're wondering. In AD 79, the people of Pompeii thought beautiful Mount Vesuvius was dormant. But that year, its eruption caused catastrophic results. Lava, hot ash, stones, and poisonous gas that destroyed all life. The powerful surge clouds that followed 11 hours after the eruption completely buried the two cities of Pompeii and Herculaneum. They were not uncovered again for more than 1,000 years. Okay. When we are peer editing, the first thing that we're going to do is give compliments. Anybody want to give me a compliment on my summary? Go ahead, Jordan.
I like how you put in AD 79.
Oh, okay. So
I
she
like how you put
likes,
the date at the beginning.
yeah, she likes that I started off with the date, which obviously had to be in the summary because it was really important information. Good. Lucas, what did you like?
I like the where you said catastrophic.
Ooh, catastrophic. That was a really good word that I used. Catastrophic means the same thing as bad, but it's a
Horror.
much better word. Any
Horror.
other compliments before we move on to suggestions? That's fine. I think, and I did this on purpose, I purposely made a pretty good topic sentence, but then I purposely did not do a conclusion sentence. So that's going to be a suggestion. Remember, conclusion sentences should not offer any new information. And this does offer new information. So I have to make a conclusion sentence. So I'm just going to say the eruption at Mount Vesuvius has fascinated people for ages. Okay. So it just kind of wraps it up, and it actually does not give any new information. And yes, it was a horrible tragedy. I could have said that too. How about this? The horrible, thank you, Jacob, for your suggestion. The horrible tragedy, comma, or the eruption at Mount Vesuvius. There we go. Okay, any other suggestions for my summary? It was pretty good. I purposely left off Oops, I misspelled that. Okay, there's a correction. I misspelled tragedy. There we go. Any other suggestions for me before we move on to corrections? Now, it was pretty good. Okay, corrections were things that were wrong, like misspellings, or if I had forgotten to indent, and I didn't. So here's one correction. My comma should be right up next to my word, so I'll fix that. There we go. Okay, moving on to your summaries. You had the cinder cones and lava dome. So let's look at what that was.
How cute.
Okay, I need to go a little faster here. We'll get down to your section, cinder cones. Ah, there we go. Alrighty. So again, I'm just going to kind of talk you through what I would be doing if I were going to summarize this. Um, First of all, I'm going to make sure that I know the topic because I'm going to mention it in my topic sentence. And then I'm just going to go through paragraph by paragraph and pull out only the important stuff. And if I would have printed it out, like I said, I would be underlining it or highlighting it with a highlighter. So I want you to read this first paragraph silently again and tell me one important thing that I should pull out of that paragraph. Go ahead, Autumn.
The small lava chunks and bits of ash harden into light rocks called cinders.
That's right. We can definitely include our vocab word and what a cinder is. Since we're talking about cinder cones, we should definitely let our reader know what a cinder actually is. Very good. In our second paragraph, please read this silently to yourself and pull out one or two important facts that I would include in my summary. Lucas.
Other cinder cones from inside the craters.
Oh, okay. So that cinder cones actually form from other older volcanoes? Sure. Anything else, Josh?
Um, Most cinder cones erupt only once.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool detail. I'm not sure if it's completely important, but if I'm writing maybe a longer summary, I think I would include it. I think how it forms and where you find cinder cones is probably maybe a little more important, but it's not a bad detail. Don't get me wrong. It's not a bad detail. Okay. All right. Let's read this paragraph and pull out only the important details. So, what is important about lava domes? This paragraph's all about lava domes. Jordan? Oh, you were just scratching your head. Okay. I think it would be important to say how they're created because remember we talked about how cinder cones were created, so we would have to talk about how lava domes are created. And then I would probably include that they explode violently. And the reason I would do that is because over here, cinder cones sometimes erupt small, like have small eruptions with loose rocks. And there, where does it say? It says something like, oh, here we go. The cinder cones spray small amounts of lava into the air. So I would probably include the difference between the two, that lava domes explode violently. Okay. So that's just kind of how I would have summarized or taken this section and pulled out important details in order to write a summary. Um, but let's go back to our agenda and let's hear from Lucas because he wrote a summary. So Lucas, you might have to just read it to me and I'll type it.
Yeah. Remember how the printed out page of main idea, details, and summary? Should I read the main idea and details, or should I just read the summary?
Just the summary. We kind of just went through the main idea. So
Okay, so cinder cones are volcanoes that might be dangerous or disastrous. Volcanoes do not erupt long enough to turn into hills, but sprays little bits of lava. Bits of lava can
oh wait, go
harden
slower. Volcanoes do not erupt long enough
to turn into a hill, but sprays little bits of lava.
Okay.
Bits of lava can harden into cinders. Cinders can pile up into cinder cones. Cinder cones fill up with lava and can explode.
Okay, stop right there for a second. After cinders can pile up into cinder cones, what was the next part?
Cinder cones fill up with lava and can explode.
Okay.
I'm done.
And that's it. Okay. Alrighty, so yep, there's one correction we're gonna be making, my misspelling there. But oh, I like it. Robin is on here. Autumn is on here, and she's already making corrections. This is great. But remember, our first step is to compliment Lucas. And I noticed right away that he used some really good words. Like he used dangerous and disastrous, even though I misspelled disastrous. That's still a really good word. Any other compliments for Lucas? I think he did a good job of talking a lot about the cinder cones. Um, One suggestion I have for Lucas is we probably need a few more details about the lava domes. Let's see. So let's go through and just read it word for word. Cinder cones are volcanoes that might be dangerous or disastrous. Could I say cinder cones and lava domes? I think I would because I'm talking about both topics, cinder cones and lava domes, so I want to include both in my topic sentence. Cinder cones and lava domes are volcanoes that might be dangerous or disastrous. Somebody find the correction for me. How to spell disastrous. Autumn.
Well, actually, you did or instead of and.
Oh. Okay. I got that
And
correction. Anybody want to
like
take a stab? Because this is kind of you guys, making corrections and helping. I don't want to be the one who does all of the peer editing. You guys have a computer in front of you. Why don't you Google it?
That's what I'm doing.
Okay, there you go. And yes, Jacob is telling us, I think I spelled it like this. That was, Jacob said that we can just right click it. That's not working for me, the spelling. Yay, Jacob just went in and fixed it for us. Thank you. Okay, so Jacob made a correction. Fantastic. Cinder cones and lava domes are volcanoes that might be dangerous and disastrous. Volcanoes do not erupt long enough to turn into a hill, but sprays little bits of lava. I think we're talking about cinder cones. So my suggestion is to make that more clear. There we go. Bits of lava can harden into cinders. I don't think we need that, so that's my suggestion. We're going to get rid of it. Cinders can pile up into cinder cones. Thank you, Autumn. She made the correction of indenting. Let's go back to our text and let's find anything else that we need to say about cinder cones, and then we need to say something more about lava domes. So let's go back. How can I, sorry, I'm going to highlight this section. How can I fix that section about cinder cones? What can I say that would be most important? We already have this part. They spray small amounts of lava. We got that.
Probably just the small lava chunks and bits of ash hardened into light rocks called cinders.
Okay. So this part right here.
It's talking about cinders.
Okay, that's awesome. So let's go back. Cinder cones do not. Okay. So I'm gonna combine these two sentences and make it into one. To destruction. Oh, we can make a new correction. I just misspelled another word. But okay, that's weird. I don't think form is misspelled, but it's saying that it is. Let's see. Okay, that's very strange. All right. Let's go back and we need to find something else to say about lava domes because we need to have a little bit more info on lava domes. So what should I pull out of this paragraph? Remember, we talked about using this detail because we talked about how cinder cones form. Why don't we talk about how lava domes form? Okay, I just used the exact text, which you're not supposed to do, but I'll change it slightly here in a second. So I'll go back and change it just a little bit. Okay. How about this? Lava domes often explode violently while cinder cones only spray small amounts of lava. Okay, let's read what we have so far. Cinder cones and lava domes are volcanoes that might be dangerous and disastrous. Cinder cones do not erupt long enough to cause major destruction, but bits of lava and ash make the cones. That doesn't sound right. How about we say but they spray bits of lava and ash
To
to make the cones. Perfect. Thank you, Autumn. Cinder cones fill up with lava and can explode. I don't think we even need that. I'm going to take it out. Lava domes are created when thick lava oozes from a vent and quickly hardens. Lava domes often explode violently, while cinder cones only spray small amounts of lava. Okay, we need a conclusion sentence. No new information, just a conclusion sentence to wrap it up. How about we say something like, both types of volcanoes. Anybody want to finish it off for me? Lucas?
Dangerous.
Go ahead, Lucas.
Dangerous. Both.
Can be, well, we already kind of said can be dangerous. So is there another word? Can cause destruction. Oh, we already said that too. Go ahead, Autumn.
it could be violent.
Yeah, we kind of said that too. We said disastrous already. Both types of volcanoes are, ooh, this is tough. I don't want to give any new information out. Okay, how about we just say
They're monstrous.
cinder cones and lava domes are two different types of volcanoes. Okay. That's not the best conclusion sentence in the world, but at least it doesn't give any new information out and it kind of wraps it up. All right, guys, oh my goodness, discussion questions. We don't have a whole lot of time. Let's see. Let's do maybe, let's do number 1 and 2. What is the cause and effect relationship that might happen as a result of Mount Fuji becoming active? So I'm just going to help you out. Here's the cause. Mount Fuji becomes active. What would be the effect that would happen if Mount Fuji became active?
What? Sorry, background noise.
Well, if the cause was Mount Fuji becomes active, what would the effect be? Remember, we could go back to the story and kind of look at that section on Mount Fuji. They mentioned it in here somewhere. Where did they mention it? Here, I think it's in this section. But what, I mean, just kind of use an inference, basically. What do you think would happen if Mount Fuji became active? Okay, Lucas.
It would be very dangerous for the surrounding villages or whatever.
Yes.
Cities.
Villages would be in danger. Perfect. And Jacob said big destruction might happen. That's right. Number 2, how could you sort the volcanoes of the world into different categories? So if I were to say, I want you to categorize volcanoes, how could you sort them? Lucas?
By what country they're in, or maybe by how what kind of volcano they are.
Okay, yeah, you could sort by their, I should say, location. You could sort by their type. You could sort by, thank you, Autumn, their shape. You can sort them by their size. You might even be able to sort them by their name, maybe, what type of name they have. Yeah, those are all good ways to be able to sort the different types of volcanoes. We have time for maybe one more. Why do you think people would take the risk of living close to a volcano? Lucas.
Good farming, and also it looks beautiful.
Good scenery. Okay, so usually the land around it is nice and fertile. Okay. And then maybe they like to look at the scenery. Actually, Jacob, this is correct. Effect means something different. The A that you were talking about there. Sorry, side note. Yeah, good soil. That's kind of what we said. Maybe they're by water, because remember the Ring of Fire, how all of those volcanoes, or not all of them, but a lot of them are situated in the Ring of Fire here by by water. It's actually, a lot of people like to live by the water. Back in the day, it was easy for trade routes, of course, because ships, would go to the ports. But a lot of people like to live by the water. Okay. Let me kind of show you what you're going to do next week. Here's something else you can do. On your agenda, I emailed this to you, so you have it. You can watch a little brain pop video on volcanoes if you want. But what you're going to do for next week, we switched gears and we are working on a new strategy, questioning. So I'm going to send you a new little book, and I want you to fill out a chart. Let me show you what it looks like. Fill out a chart with questions. So let me show you what you're going to get in your email. Okay. Where'd it go? Nope. Nope. Here it is. Okay, so you're going to get a book about Abraham Lincoln, and then you're going to get a chart. Before you read the book, while you are previewing it, you need to fill out the first two sections. What do you know about Abraham Lincoln? And then what do you want to know? So questions about Abraham Lincoln. The reason that we question and preview a text before we just jump into it is because as you're reading, you can get a deeper understanding if you actually had some questions in mind about the, whoever you're reading about as you're going along. So then after you read the book together next week, we will fill out this section together, what you did learn. Okay? So give me a thumbs up if that makes sense. Okay, so you have two short little sections, and then you have a book to read, and I'll send that to you. All right, guys, it has been fun. Give everybody a wave goodbye. Oh, Autumn, you have a question?
Can I see the little baby picture in the background?
Sure. Oh. Yay! They were playing with Christmas lights. Aren't they cute?
Aww.
I know. They're so sweet.
Cool gaga.
All right, guys. Well, give us a wave goodbye. Bye. Happy Monday.